In chapter 12, Magic is Might, it seems that more and more, random onlookers, they weren't really random, but more and more Death Eaters were coming outside Grimwald Place. They couldn't officially see number 12 where Harry and Ron and Hermione were at, but more and more people start coming outside and kind of looking and peeking, see if they could see anything, and the crowd grew. Crowd of people in dark cloaks, just chilling and lurking outside the house. So Harry apparates back in that one specific spot, right on the front step. If you apparate there, like Lupin said, you will not be seen. But he apparated in and his elbow poked out, and he thought maybe someone popped and saw him a little bit. But they have been going out and scouring, or being, I guess, scouting out the ministry to see if they could spot Umbridge. And Harry came back with a newspaper, and a newspaper article had said that Snape had been announced as the professor, or no, as the headmaster of Hogwarts. Obviously, this made everyone angry. Harry mentioned that, yeah, we know where Snape is now. And Hermione got really angry. She storms off, and then they were just talking about maybe like teachers obviously will be there to protect the students because Ginny and some other students were still going back to Hogwarts. And Harry and Ron were like, it's weird that we're not going back to Hogwarts at all. And he had like a little flashback to his memories at Hogwarts and coming back on the train. And then Hermione came back with the painting of Phineas. Since Snape was headmaster, she had thought of the fact that maybe Snape would send him to to look and see if they're at the house. So she just took the painting and stuffed it in her bag so that if Phineas looked, he would just see darkness. And then they were also talking about their plan. Now, their plan to get into the ministry, they had like blueprints and things of the ministry, because Ron is very adept at like what the ministry, like what floors each place is and all that stuff. So Ron had a lot of inside knowledge. But he did forget to mention that the maintenance guys wore navy blue clothes, and he didn't mention that before. And Hermione's like, you should have mentioned that, because that kind of changes things, because then they were just trying to become maintenance people to go in. So they're going to take Polyjuice Potion and transform into 3 people in the ministry. That would be the way they get in and find Umbridge and get out. That's their plan. And they have to use tokens as well to be able to get in. That one of the people that transform into will have tokens. Very complex plan, so they were worried about that. At the same time, Harry's scar started hurting, and also, so he kind of ducked off away upstairs, and he didn't even fight it. He kind of just let it in. He let in what Voldemort was saying. He could feel what he's feeling, and he saw Voldemort. It seemed like he was in Germany or somewhere that speaks German, and he was questioning someone about Gregorovitch and where he was. And it seemed like he found Gregorovitch's family, because he kind of barged in the house, attacked the wife, and the kids were there in the picture. And then Harry woke back up, and with Ron and Hermione outside the bathroom door, yelling because he had been screaming. And he tried to play it off, but they're like, no, we're not dumb. We know what you're doing. And obviously, Hermione, she's going in on him and saying he should have been practicing his occlumency. And basically at this point, Ron steps in and says it's basically up to him if he wants to do that. Harry's like, maybe we should keep this, connection open, just so I can see where Voldemort is possibly and what he's doing. Even though he does know Voldemort can alter what he sees, just like he did with Sirius. So there's pros and cons to this connection being open. And obviously Hermione's against it, but Ron's like, just let it be. At this point, Harry's not even going to try to block it. And then as they... Also, Creature has been treating them all very nicely. Like, he's been giving them food and all that stuff, and they have noticed that, and it's been very good. His mood has definitely changed since he got the locket back or got Regulus's locket back from Harry. That was like a very sentimental token to him, and his mood has changed. Doesn't even like insult them anymore. Um, and as they're going over everything the night before, Harry's going over the plan, and they're getting ready. So they wake up the next morning to do their plan, pack up everything. Hermione, they apparate to place outside the ministry, so they wait for the first person that's supposed to come. It's supposed to be a woman. And then when she pops in, Hermione knocks her out with a stun spell, and they take her hairs, Polyjuice Potion. Hermione transforms, and then the next person is Ron's guy. I give him the barfing candy that not candy, but barfing thing that the Ron's brothers, Fred and George, made, and make him take it. And he takes it, starts throwing up profusely, and they basically just convince him that he needs to go home for the day. So then they pluck his hairs out. Ron transforms it to him. He's a maintenance man. And then Harry's guy, who is very much taller than Harry. They take him and then give him the nosebleed candy, so then make him go home as well. So then they flush themselves into the ministry and kind of move about the grounds. They separate a little bit so it can go, not to be suspicious, obviously. I think Harry and Ron stay together mostly, and then one of the Death Eaters comes up and to talk to Ron and about a maintenance issue with his room and won't stop raining. Basically, he said that I have your wife as well. I'm going to question her because she's half-blood, and he's going to question her about her being her blood, and basically just threatens him to say that if you don't get this thing done, I'm going to make your wife in trouble. And then he looks at Harry, so obviously Harry's, and the guy's name was Yaxel. So like Harry got the sense that the guy that he was impersonating was a pretty intimidating guy and probably not a very good person. But this caused a dilemma in their plan, because now Ron was expected to fix this maintenance problem, and he had no idea what to do. Hermione gave him a couple spells he could use. If those don't work, then he's out of luck. And at this point, they split off. So they got in the elevator, and Ron wanted to go do his duties, and Hermione and Harry would stay together just to be able to find Umbridge. And right when the elevator opened, they see a woman in robes, I believe, a woman or man in robes, and then there she is, Umbridge, right up there, and that's how the chapter ends. Definitely enjoyed this chapter. It feels like more of like a, what's it called? Almost like a spy kind of thing, because they're infiltrating the ministry and they're under disguise, and this is a very fun chapter. I do remember this scene kind of in the movie. It was a pretty cool scene, I do remember. But yeah, I'm excited for what happens in the next chapter when they just talk to Umbridge. Also, apologies for saying the wrong chapter 11 wrong. It is chapter 11, The Bribe, not The Bride, so The Bribe. And also a key thing in this chapter, there was one, I believe, statue in the ministry that was a wizard and I think a wizard and a witch, and they were sitting on a throne, and his throne that Harry noticed later was carved out to look like a bunch of humans, like they were sitting on. Obviously, they got what the message was that the ministry was trying to put out, since it is run by Death Eaters and Voldemort, that Muggles are very far below